What the kids need to realize that they have to have respect for the water. Even though they might be a pretty good swimmer, they could be as simple as falling in the water, hitting your head. You've got your rip currents that could also pull an individual under. You've got the waves versus someone in a pool. You've got the waves that are in the lake that can also take somebody under. In the state of Michigan, any child under the age of 7 years old is required to have a life jacket on when they're in a boat. So even though it's not a requirement for an older child to wear a life jacket by law, you should know your limitations and realize if you're not a strong swimmer or if you're in some unsafe conditions and you're not comfortable with, if you do fall in the water, being able to rescue yourself or save yourself, make sure that you do have a life jacket on. It's not a requirement, but the Coast Guard does recommend that, when you're on a boat, the best thing to do is have a life jacket on. The other time that you're supposed to have a life jacket on is when you don't have to have the life jacket on, but it's required you have to have a life jacket when you're on a kayak or a canoe. There has to be a life jacket on board that, and also the stand-up paddle boards. You have to have a life jacket on the stand-up paddle board. The only time you don't need a life jacket on a stand-up paddle board is when you're in a designated swim area. So like the Ludington Stearns Park Beach, and if you're inside the buoys, you don't need to have a life jacket on the stand-up paddle board. Any other time, you need to have a life jacket on. So the Type 2 vest, it'll go over top of their head, and then there's going to be a strap that's going to go around the body. And when the strap goes around the body, you want to make sure it's snug. You want to make sure that the strap is not too tight where it's going to be really uncomfortable for the child or the individual. But you want to make sure it's snug enough that if they do fall in the water, that the life jacket's not going to come up off of them. Type 3 is going to be more of like your water skiing vest, or it's going to cover the whole chest a little bit better. It's going to go on just like a jacket. So you're going to put both arms, or one arm through each side, and then there's going to be a zipper and then 2 clips. You want to zip up the jacket and then connect the 2 clips and make sure that they're snug. You can actually grab the life jacket, kind of lift it up, make sure that it's not going to come off the individual. Again, you want to make sure that it's snug and not over tight, so it's uncomfortable. It's going to be kind of like the same thing with the Type 3. Again, you're going to put on like a jacket, then you're going to zip up the zipper and clip the snap, tightening it up where it's nice and snug. You can lift up on the top again to make sure that it's not going to come up off the child, and then you're going to take and unhook the strap and for the leg strap, you're going to unhook it, run it between the legs, and then clip it. That one you do want a little looser. You don't want it real snug where it's going to be uncomfortable.